you started mentioning some of this earlier in the answer to that question. So perhaps you want to lead us off with this next one, which was really just how can you offset the potential disadvantage of, caused by the lack of in-person testimony or, quote unquote, human interaction?
Sure. I mean, I think first and foremost, if you anticipate that this is going to be a major hurdle or a major roadblock to your case, do make every effort to ensure that you get in person. If it's worth waiting for in some cases, which in some cases it really is, then you need to make that application. Judges, they don't really have a playbook for this yet. There isn't a whole lot of precedent. I mean, it's really a fundamental fairness argument that you're making. My plaintiff or my defendant is unfairly prejudiced because they had to do a virtual trial where someone in upstate got to do it in person and they could get a vastly different result. But I strongly encourage you to not just, we have a virtual trial, let's just move forward. No, I mean, I would really weigh the cost, the benefit, and see if it's really going to be the best thing for your client and then fight for it. Really fight for it. But if you do have to go forward, I'd say that the best thing that you could do is ensure or make an application for post-trial briefing or post-hearing briefing, because that's really going to be a way for you to try and make up for anything that was lacking in the actual proceedings themselves. I'm a big fan of post-trial and post-hearing briefing ordinarily, but not all judges will allow it. I mean, here again, because there's no playbook, you're getting a little more leeway in that regard. So this is your opportunity to get that. And I would certainly request that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a tough thing because, something is, and I considered it silly before. It's not so silly anymore. Whenever my team and I were in trial, we always like to take bets on who the foreperson was, and so that we could kind of direct our arguments to whoever we thought it was, and we'd always, guess as to who we thought it was. It's impossible now. In the virtual trials, we've seen the jury isn't even in the room with you, and they're wearing masks, and even if they wind up in the room and have to wear masks. So I think there's a lot of maneuvering that has to be done, similar to the analysis that's been done with respect to how to get the kids back in school, whether it's plexiglass, whether, whatever the case may be. And, one of the things I think we as litigators have to really impress upon our state governments and our county and city governments is that the courts need the resources to do this, because I foresee an issue where if they can't get this right and they can't get the funding that they need to move that forward, the backlog is just going to become increasingly just insurmountable. And at some point, that doesn't serve as a benefit to anyone. And you're just sitting there having to charge, fees and then keep these matters open indefinitely. And it's just not going to be a good situation, I think, all around. So I think it's a team sport at this point, and we have to get us back to as close to normal as we can.
Yeah, and I think Los Angeles wasn't as quick to respond as Miami appears to have been. We went dark essentially for a few months after this started. You guys
weren't the only ones. I heard Chicago and Boston were in the same boat. Yeah.
Right. So, at this point, we haven't had any trials. All civil jury trials have been pushed to next year. Bench trials have supposedly been pushed to November, to start November. I don't know if that's going to happen. But they've recognized the need to have these in person and not proceed forward virtually. But with respect to pretrial hearings, I mean, we were backlogged before. I mean, Los Angeles is completely. Now it's worse. I mean, to get a hearing, it's months and months and months. So this is the new normal. We have to get used to for pretrial hearings, especially non-evidentiary hearings. You have to get used to doing them virtually. It's the way it's going to be. That's the way to get through this.